I think it's fair to say that no military action will be taken against Iran. It's probably fair to say that that's been the position for weeks and weeks, despite these threats. And so we're going to have an agreement of sorts, and we shall see if this is an ironclad agreement. But just to make it clear where I stand, I don't think anything short of taking out their nuclear sites, and that would include their centrifuges, is going to stop them in the long run, even in the mid-run, from getting a nuclear weapon. I look at North Korea, and that's what I see. Just my opinion. And it's going to be left probably to another generation to deal with it, and the consequences will be much more difficult because Iran is on its back right now. It's economically on its back. Its ground-to-air missile system is almost non-existent thanks to what the Israelis did to them, 9 months ago. Those systems will be rebuilt with the most modern ground-to-air missile systems that that Russia has, and they have a very, very good system. And, of course, if we take the sanctions off, which is likely part of some deal, then all this money will flow into Iran, and they'll be able to rebuild whatever has been destroyed, whatever progress has been made, and we're off to the races. So we shall see. I'm just reading the tea leaves like the rest of you. I'm reading the reports that are coming out, the unauthorized leaks to Axios coming out of the administration that undermine the president and the prime minister. Somebody's doing something. But this is what I see. Moreover, I want to repeat what I've been saying, and I'm the one who started this point because it's important as a constitutionalist, that whatever does come out of this negotiation must go to Congress. It should be treated as a treaty, because that's what it is. If it's not a treaty, then when do we ever have a treaty? On matters of nuclear war and life and death, dealing with an enemy state, that's exactly the kind of thing that needs to be treated as a treaty. And the vast majority of Republicans took that position with Obama's deal. They eventually caved, and they had an executive agreement, as they call it, which is not in the Constitution. I don't care if presidents have done it or not. It's not in the Constitution. But even there, that permitted both houses of Congress, the House and the Senate, to participate in the process. There's no way that this can just be rammed through, even if it's the greatest agreement of any agreement that's ever been negotiated by anybody on the face of the earth. We have a constitutional construct. So that will have to be dealt with. And I would encourage those involved, they should start bringing the Senate into this. They should start bringing Senate leaders into this, committee chairmen into this, so we're not left with, well, it's imminent, we have to hurry up, we have to do this, we have to do that. I'm just giving my take on these things. I think that's very, very important. But I do think, whether it is during the Trump administration or subsequent to the Trump administration, that one day the Iranians will announce that they have a nuclear weapon. And then it's going to be extraordinarily difficult for us to deal with it, Israel to deal with it, and you're going to have a proliferation situation in the Middle East. That's the way I see this. Time will tell. It doesn't matter if I'm shouted down by the sloganeers with the warmonger stuff and the neocon stuff or the phony headlines and all that. It doesn't matter. I'm communicating to you, me and you, the American people, Mr. and Mrs. America. When you look at Iran, Iran has been committed to this. Iran has spent a fortune on this. The leaders of Iran want to destroy Israel. They want to destroy the United States and the West. There's really only one way to do it, and that's with a nuclear weapon. It's going to change everything. It's going to change everything. Maybe I'll be dead and gone, and many of you will, and in the administration, many of the people involved in this might be gone, and prior administrations, they'll be gone, but we do have children and grandchildren, and so I pray to God that we're not ushering something in that we can't put back in the box. As I've explained before, we're not talking about communists in this regard or fascists in this regard, where mutual assured destruction actually works. somebody picked up on this point, and I raised it a month ago on Fox. The Islamist Nazis, the Islamo-Nazis, they're not interested. They don't care about mutual assured destruction. It's fine by them. They live now for the next life. That's what they live for. And they believe God, maybe it's their God, is telling them to do these things. And we've talked about this, and in my new book on power, I write about this, and this should concern everybody. So we'll see. We shall see what it looks like. We have enough experts, enough people who know what a great deal looks like and a great deal doesn't. We know the key is centrifuges, and we know the key is not whether the centrifuges are spinning under the nuclear level or not, because they can be raised really in a moment's notice effectively, but whether they have centrifuges at all. I don't care if it's under the watchful eye of the United States or the European Union or whatever it is. We don't know where everything is. They know where everything is, and I don't think that they're going to reveal everything to us. We're the enemy, after all. So I wanted to lay that out, which I have, and then I want to move on. I want to move on to AOC. AOC pretty much gets a free pass by the American media. Pretty much gets a free pass. She says many stupid things. She has many stupid positions, extraordinarily dangerous positions. She was part of that defund the police stuff, part of the open borders, decriminalization, Hamas mouthpiece. And over at our Breitbart, our friends over there, John Binder, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calls to abolish ICE in latest campaign pitch. Folks, they effectively did that under Biden. Whomever they are, they effectively did it under Biden. We can't afford another round of this. They write, Cortez, a potential Democrat presidential primary candidate, is again calling for the abolitionment of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, which enforces the nation's immigration laws. Again and again, this is revolution by immigration to change the entire makeup of the United States. I'm not talking about the complexion, the makeup, the substantive makeup of the United States. Bringing in people from all parts of the world, not assimilating into the American culture, but to destroy the American culture. You see some of the entrails of this on our college campuses right now, individuals coming to this country from the Middle East, from countries that the cultures are completely contrary to ours. Their governments are enemy governments. They're certainly not friends. And you see the consequence. Cortez won her congressional race in 2018, partly on a platform that promised to dismantle and ultimately abolish ICE. She eventually dropped the abolish ICE talking point from her stump speech if the polls found that even a majority of Democrats didn't want the federal agency to be wiped out. So in a new campaign email, just as AOC sets herself up as the new face of the Democrat Party heading into the 2027 presidential primary, the self-described Democratic socialist is again resurfacing calls to abolish ICE. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter where she is in the polls, if she's leading in the, none of that matters. Once you get into the debates, if there's enough Democrats running, she will be exposed. And she will be exposed as basically somebody who has a long list of bumper sticker statements and substantively is quite hollow. She is a media creation from the moment she won the Republican primary. She won the Republican primary against a white Irish male politician who'd represented that district for 20 years, and the media went nuts because she's obviously not white, not Irish, and not male. They thought it was very, very cool, and so they've been promoting her ever since. They don't get into the substance with her, just like they don't get into the substance with Tlaib or Omar or Bernie Sanders, for that matter. These are crazy-ass people who hate this country. Abolishing ICE would set free over 1 million illegal aliens, many of whom are violent felons, but this is what she'd like to do. From immigration detention, while eliminating the federal government's enforcement arm that locates, arrests, and deports many of the nation's 11 to 22 million illegal aliens. Now, you see the kind of people the Trump administration are rounding up. These are violent, vile, horrific individuals for the most part. horrific, who've done horrible things in our country. They'd be out on the streets. Earlier this month, Border Czar Tom Homan suggested he was in talks with the Department of Justice over AOC's insistence to continuously give illegal aliens advice on how to evade ICE agents. I would be shocked if they actually charge her, even though she should be charged. I would be shocked. What she's doing, she says she's educating everybody of their constitutional rights. That's not what she's doing. And by the way, if you're here on a visa, and there are many kinds of visas, my wife has taught me this. She used to practice this area of the law as well as many others. Really good, smart lawyer. There are conditions, and she's explained to me, you have to sign on, and you have to meet the requirements of this visa in your application. And there's a number of requirements. And it includes, behavior that is not contrary to the interests of the United States. So you have all these people who have blogs, who write or go on the internet, talking about a right to free speech. When you come into this country and you sign these forms, you have a very limited right to free speech. You're here to be a student. You're here to be an entertainer. You're here to be a farm worker. You're here to be whatever you are. And then you're supposed to leave. These are temporary. Visas are temporary. Temporary. They're not permanent. You don't have a right to be here permanently. None. Unless you change your status. But that's AOC now. Abolish ICE.